Welcome back to season 2 of the Recreating Connections podcast. Before we get started, we want to take a moment to thank all of our listeners for an incredible first season. Because of your support, 45% of our listeners tuned in within the first 24 hours of each episode release, which is an amazing level of engagement for a new podcast. Season 1 also performed strongly compared to similar shows, ranking in the top 76% for most shared podcasts, the top 86% for listener comments, and landed in the top 58% among debut podcast seasons. So thank you for listening, sharing, and being a part of the conversation. Your support helped make season 1 a success, and we're looking forward to build on season 2. Today, we're kicking things off with Trey Fouche, Central North Regional Consultant with Recreation Resources Service. Trey joins us to talk about his role supporting parks and recreation departments across his region, how he got started in the field of parks and recreation, and who he is outside of work. Without further ado, let's get into it. Hi, everyone. I want to welcome everyone back to the Recreating Connections podcast, season 2. After we had an exciting season 1, we're going to open it up right now. We got Trey Fouche, Central North Regional Consultant, and we're going to let everyone get to know him a little bit more and about his role and everything he has to offer to the Recreation Resources Department. First off, I'm Alex Cadet. I am the Outreach Consultant with Recreation Resources Service, and my co-host
is Holly Henry, and I am the University Program Associate with Recreation Resources Service. And I'm really excited to be back, you guys. This
Oh,
is
yeah.
this is good.
And we're going to introduce Trey Fouche, Central North
Trey
Regional Consultant.
Fouche.
Welcome, Trey.
Thanks for having me.
So I guess we're gonna kick it right off, Trey. For those of you who might not know, tell us a little bit about your journey and how did you get into Parks and Recreation in the first place?
Well, I think if you go all the way back, I was a camp kid, right? I went to summer camp every summer, starting at probably 7 years old, and loved camp. So I started at 2 weeks, went for a month, then went for the whole summer as I got older, and ended up working at camp through college. I send my kids to camp, the same summer camp now. So I think that's how I ended up in Parks and Rec. And I think from there, I knew I wanted to be in the outdoors and working with people and that sort of stuff. And, kind of worked my way through the field over time, combining with education as well. Yeah.
So was there a moment or experience early on when you realized that you wanted to pursue a career in this field?
I think I was living in Brevard, North Carolina at the time, over in Transylvania County, and I was working for Brevard College, and I don't know how old I was. I was in my late 20s, and I had heard that you could get a master's degree in outdoor education. And I was like, wait, you can do that? Like, that's a thing? So that led me to learning more about it, which led me to graduate school. And I got a master's in outdoor education administration from Georgia College and State University, which is in the thriving metropolis of Milledgeville, Georgia, Central Georgia. It is not Brevard, but I had a great 2 years in Milledgeville. And then that led me into the field, as a whole, into the Parks and Rec field.
Have you always been in recreation prior to being a consultant?
Yeah, so my career has blended itself in education and recreation.
Okay.
Some of that has been formally blended, like I was a professor of outdoor leadership at a university outside of Greenville, South Carolina, North Greenville University. But then I was also a classroom social studies teacher for a few years here in the Charlotte area. So that's not traditional Parks and Rec, but I certainly brought elements of the Parks and Rec field into the seventh grade classroom.
So that's where the teacher voice comes from sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
Making announcements at the conferences and stuff.
Actually, I give credit. He will never listen to this, but there is a mentor of mine, Sean Penn, and not the famous Sean Penn, but a different.
Got a little excited there for a minute.
That taught me how to, at summer camp, actually taught me how to speak in an outdoor voice, and that led to a teacher voice. And yeah, you are not the first person to say something.
The rest is history.
Right.
So, what led you to Recreation Resources Service and serving the Central North region?
Sure. My family and I moved to the Lake Norman area in, I don't know, 2017-ish, somewhere in that range. And my we came for my wife's position. And so I knew that I was giving up my position in the Greenville area. And I spent a couple years doing different things, teaching seventh grade social studies, working at Charlotte Latin School in their outdoor program. And, I was just trying to find how to get back into sort of the recreation world. And I think it was a LinkedIn post when these positions came open. I didn't even know what RRS was. And I was like, I need to dig into this a little bit. And so I dug into it and learned more about it and was like, I think I can do that. And it gets me back into the field and working with like-minded people, that sort of thing. As far as the Central North region, I live, right on the border of the Central North region. I live in Met County, but Iredell County is where it starts. And they gave me an option, and it included Ashe County. And I was like, I'm in. That's the mountains. So I want Central North. And so, I love traveling from Ashe County to Orange County and discovering all these little small towns along the way.
So when you first stepped into the consultant role, what surprised you most about the job?
It was the geography. I did not. I'm a South Carolina boy. I know every little small town in South Carolina. I do not know them in North Carolina. So I got to go to all these little places: Tobaccoville, Green Level, Milton, Harmony, Lansing. These are all great little small towns I'd never heard of. And it was super fun to meet the people there and to get to know the folks in those communities.
So Trey, you mentioned when you first saw the LinkedIn post for this position, you didn't really know too much about RRS.
Sure.
So now for listeners, how would you describe what a consultant does in the day-to-day or serving their region?
Oh, yeah. So what's the elevator pitch? Good question. I think that my job is to serve local governments mostly, and that's county and municipal governments, and helping them build, develop, redevelop parks and recreation opportunities in their area. And that's a wide array of things and helping them. Some of it's brainstorming, master planning, some of it's community engagement. Some of it is grant management. I do a little of all that stuff, just education about opportunities and what's out there to help communities either develop their parks or help to pay to develop their parks. But then I also get to do, professional development type of things, working with advisory boards and Parks and Recreation advisory boards and helping them understand their role and how they can help their communities.
And so, in your role, I know you deal with directors a lot.
Mm-hmm.
If a director happened to call you overwhelmed about their job, whether it be getting the community involved or they're about to start a state or a federal grant, and they were
Mm-hmm.
overwhelmed, what advice would you give them in your position?
Sure. First, it's advice I would give anybody for any reason. Let's take a deep breath, right? And it's advice I give to myself. So let's take a deep breath, slow down. Let's figure out what your goal is here. What are we going after? And then talk it through with them. Is it a grant deadline that's overwhelming them? Is it the lack of funding that's overwhelming them? Is it community is overwhelming them with the pressure to get something done? What's the issue? And then we can start talking through how to, knock out those issues. And because I, a lot of it's just communication. How can we best communicate? And then from there, setting little mini goals to knock out your grant application, or again, communicate well with your community or with your town manager or
Right.
with whoever the person is,
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in this role, in this position, do you feel like you've had any skills or strengths that you picked up on since being Central North Regional Consultant?
Sure. I throughout my life, I continue to learn and relearn patience, right?
Mhm.
Like things don't happen quickly. And people aren't perfect, and including myself. And so we just have to be patient with people. We have to be patient with time. We have to be patient with systems. because we are in government work and systems aren't perfect or sometimes can get bogged down. So,
Right.
and then really, I think a skill set that I also a slightly different skill set is finding the right person to ask, right? And so that you can move the system along a little quicker, like just figuring out who that person is that will help move the task along. I've learned that is a very helpful skill.
Definitely. And I know as consultants, we're not supposed to be partial or anything like that to
Sure.
anything, but there are particular like projects and initiatives that you're proud of for your region or cities that may have, come up with certain things that you may be proud of. Is there anyone
Um,
that stands out to you?
uh, there are cool projects everywhere. One that immediately comes to mind that's under development right now is the town of Jonesville in Yadkin County is developing a mountain biking park along the Yadkin River. And they have, I don't know how many acres it is, 80 acres, something like that. And they had a vision for a mountain bike park, and they're putting it together. So it's really neat to see that. I also think that something that I've been a part of that certainly isn't mine by any stretch, but the Great Trail State Coalition and the Great Trail State Conference
Right.
have been very successful over the past 2 or 3 years. The Year of the Trail was a great initiative, and trails are just booming throughout North Carolina. And so, in 2024, we sold out our inaugural Great Trail State Conference, and I was one of the co-conveners of that. And so I'm proud of that. There were folks from all over North Carolina, but the Central North was heavily included, and we hosted it in Winston-Salem in the Central North region.
And when's the next one, Trey?
Thanks for the opportunity to promote.
Yeah, they got to
Thanks.
plug it in
So we're
right
going to
there.
do it again, August 10th through the 12th in 2026. Again in Winston-Salem at the Benton Convention Center. We're expanding a little bit. We've got a great keynote speaker, David Lamont, who is a North Carolina guy coming out of Black Mountain. And I think we hope folks will sign up and we'll sell out again and have another successful Great Trail State Conference. So early bird registration is open. Go to the RRS website and you can find the link there.
So when you're not serving the region, what do you do? What do you enjoy doing outside of work?
I'm a hiker. Speaking of trails, I enjoy getting out. I have two boys and my wife. We enjoy getting out camping and hiking. I haven't done it as much recently, but my outdoor pursuit of choice would be distance backpacking. So going out for 5, 6, 8, 10 days, and getting into the sort of the pace of that. I really enjoy slowing down and being pretty methodical when you can do some of those distance backpacking trips. But I spend a lot of time on a baseball field with my boys, and I enjoy that a lot too. There's great value in that, and it's a fun sport for me. So.
And if you weren't in Parks and Recreation, what would you be doing?
I would probably be in education, and some kind of teacher somewhere. Social studies is what I did before, as I mentioned, and I'd probably stay in that lane.
Awesome.
If you could leave listeners with one takeaway about the value of recreation resources service or even value of recreation as a whole, what would it be?
Whew. Well, the value of recreation resources service is definitely, we are a service for the state of North Carolina. It's a part of NC State's sort of mission to provide these services throughout the state, and so municipal and county governments should we are free service to them, and they should take advantage of the expertise that consultants have and the knowledge that we've collected, and the opportunity to help them continue to develop and redevelop recreation opportunities in their communities. And then for recreation as a whole, man, that is everything from mental health to physical health to social well-being, you name it. We need to be active and engaged people, and I think recreation is one of the many ways that folks can do it. And I mean, it's recreation; it's for fun, right? That's why we do it. So people can get out there, and that helps them overall, including me. I need more recreation in my life, and I'm working. So.
There we go.
Right.
All right, y'all. We want to thank Trey again for coming on and giving us a little insight on his life and what he does in his role as Central North Regional Consultant. And I want to thank my co-host Holly Henry for coming on back on, and thank
Thank
you
you,
all for
Alex, and
listening
thank
for
you.
season 2. As we get started, we got a bunch of interesting guests that are going to be on, and we're going to kick it off with Trey. So that was great.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for having me.
Trey.
I look forward to hearing who's coming after me and improving upon what I do.
Great.